to another video. Well, today, the topic of today's video, as with my shorts like usual, if you want to watch them, you can, is the death of King Richard the Lionheart. One of the most famous English kings, probably next to Henry VIII, out there. Fun enough, Richard's own father is a Henry. Um, but Richard is probably most well known for his times during the Third Crusade, um, and also that while he is an English king, he's not really all that English. Like I said, his father, Henry, was Henry II, was King of England, but his mother was Eleanor of Aquitaine, probably the most influential or famous woman in French history, and probably one of the most influential women in European history at that. Um, so very important French noble, uh, and Richard ends up showing a little bit more favoritism to his French side. He speaks French very fluently. English, as far as we know, he understood Middle English, which is the English at the time. But speaking it very fluently, probably not so much. He probably can understand it to a basic level. Maybe even he can understand it quite to a decent level. But speaking it, he did not prefer. Most people didn't really. French for a long time is kind of the um, language of nobility. It is seen as the noble language, mostly because of how the Franks, before the French, and even the French, kind of set up their empires and their influence. France is a very big country, things like that. Big kingdom, not really a country at this point, but more of a kingdom. Um, and Richard, his death probably came as quite a shock. I'm sure, even during his time, Richard's own propaganda about how great and miraculous he was, um, really was kind of unmatched by anyone. He very much sticks out as oh, I am that guy. I am the best there is. That's why kind of today we see him as like the ideal of chivalric kingship. But I mean, he kind of really wasn't. He was really no different than a lot of the other kings of the time and things like that. But he really was a good spokesperson for himself. Um, but Richard, when he dies, it's also a very simple death, really, in the grand scheme of things. He's besieging a castle. This castle kind of revolting some. It's not defended very heavily by like big armed soldiers or nothing like that. It's mostly peasants. And Richard is out looking at the battlements, things like that, with his men. Um, gets struck by a stray crossbow bolt, and it just so happens that that crossbow bolt gets infected. The wound of the crossbow from the crossbow bolt gets quite infected, and Richard passes away. He dies of gangrene, basically a gangrenous infection. Um, really, kind of a simple way to go. It shows how the medieval times really are just kind of unpredictable. You can't fully predict how you're going to go or what's going to happen to you. Um, Obviously, I'm sure Richard would have preferred not to die this way, but as he goes out, the story goes is that the man that shot him, it was a cook. We believe wasn't even a very old guy either, kind of a younger guy. Um, Richard says, "Hey, I don't want anything to happen to him. It happens. Please spare him. That's my final wish. All that. Yeah, that does not get held up. While it was if the story is true, it was a very nice sentiment, and it really does kind of show maybe there was a very good chivalric side to uh, old Richard the Lionheart there. Yeah, his men don't care. They find the guy that do it, and he is more or less tortured. Um, very, very cruel way to go that they take him, and kind of goes against the wishes of their dead king. But that's what happens sometimes. Medieval times are not necessarily the nicest to people, especially if you're a king killer. Um, a lot of times you don't kill nobles. That you will get very harsh uh, punishment if you do, especially if you're just a commoner, like the guy that kills Richard. If you're just a commoner and you happen to kill a king or even another noble, like a duke, you can expect that your end will not be so pleasant. Even if you're another noble, there might be some harsh punishments for taking out another noble. So always got to keep that in mind during this time. Um, it would have been interesting to see uh, the Angevin Empire, which is kind of this English Aquitaine empire that spawns from Henry and Eleanor. If Richard had lived, what would have happened with that empire? There's a good argument to be made that maybe this empire turns into unifying of the crown of France and the crown of England, which it really could have. Eleanor had a decent claim to the throne herself, and Richard, as her son, has a really strong claim, and it has a really strong nation at this point. Like England isn't necessarily the strongest nation, but France, its strength lies in all of its duchies, and if the Duchy of Aquitaine, which is one of the largest and one of the most powerful, sides with England, there's a good argument to be made that France couldn't stop it militarily, so they might have given the throne to Richard. Now, I mean, there probably would have been some fights. You know, the French nobility probably doesn't want to give up too as they would have seen it, an English king. But who's to say? Could have been a real interesting scenario here, um, but doesn't happen. And instead, Richard dies to a random crossbow bolt. Really goes to show that even the mighty can fall to kind of the mundane. But that's going to do it for this video. If you liked the video, please leave a like. I really appreciate it. If you have any ways I can improve these videos, leave a comment down below. I read all comments, try to respond if I can. Um, and if you can, please subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Thank you.